Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to race number 4, the season finale championship night here at Bristol Dirt for the TNR Summer Stadium Trucks. Getting ready to go racing at the world's fastest half mile, maybe here tonight the world's slipperiest half mile, as these drivers prepare to crown a champion, but more importantly, finish out the season with a W. Seth Cole alongside of Tyler Riggs. And Tyler, we've got heat races, we've got an A main, we've of course got the main event, the B main coming up for these guys, but I gotta wonder, Stadium Trucks at Bristol Dirt, what are we in for here tonight?
Man, I mean, it's going to be not only a battle, but it's going to be a war. You know how dirt goes. It's who adjusts best and throw in these fantastic trucks. We all had some excellent racing.
Coming off the heels of the road course race these drivers had last week at the Charlotte Roval, as we prepare for tonight's Blame Shelley Insurance 200. And some of the guys might have wanted to take out an insurance claim on their trucks here this evening, because we know that there's not a whole heck of a lot of space here at Bristol. And we're going to be putting, when we get to those main event races, we're going to be putting 18 trucks out there on the racetrack. So just how limited space is there here when you've got it covered with dirt as opposed to the asphalt track?
I actually think there's a bit more space to work with on the dirt surface because, Seth, remember, really that bottom part of the corner is what would usually be your apron on the asphalt. It becomes a lot more accessible, especially with these trucks. They can hook it well. We were watching practice a little bit. That could be a bit of a strategy. I think the part you have to watch out for, which is typical of Bristol, whether it's asphalt or dirt, is coming off those corners, Seth, where they tighten up a little bit. We can see these guys 3-4 wides in the corner, and then they have to realize, oh, okay, I gotta crunch down here. So that will be interesting to see how that works itself out.
And it was fun to observe these guys in practice as well. Some drivers seem pretty dedicated to running right around the inside of the racetrack, others right up there against the outside wall. And one thing that we know is that usually at any short track that's covered in dirt you go to, whatever line you're running, the odds are there's going to be somebody in front of you that's running that line as well. So it'll be interesting to see how drivers do maneuvering their way through traffic. We'll get an idea here with our first heat. Matthew Rodriguez going to line up on the point alongside of Stephen Cageman. Cam Caldwell will line up third. Shane Terrian on the outside of row 2. Bobby Puckett was scheduled to roll off from 5th. Looks like he's missed the grid. So Kenneth Drake will actually line up in the 5th position. Of course, Kenneth Drake, no stranger when it comes to dirt. The outgoing runner-up of the latest season of the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series.
Yeah, taking his hand here at Bristol Dirt. So it was looking pretty good in practice. It figures, of course, he's one of the fastest guys here, so we'll see, as usual with these tracks, how he can work his way through the field.
And of course, if you didn't tune in last week and don't know how this works, the drivers depend on how they finish here in these heat races. It will determine where they will start in the B main. The different heats get inverted. Drivers that finish towards the back will start up towards the front, and then when we get to that A main, we end up having, of course, or the B main, I'm sorry, we actually end up having the race get inverted again for the A main. So it's going to be interesting to see the strategy here for these drivers, because a bad night here in this heat race doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be out of it. They're going to have good starting track position when we get to that B main race.
Yeah, and we saw that a bit last week at the Roval. You could use kind of a bad situation in those heats, be able to learn a little bit going into the next segment of your wheel, like I said, the B main or the A main.
It's going to be 10 laps in each one of these heats as the green flag is out. Matthew Rodriguez and Stephen Cageman bring us down, and already you can see the wheel spin these guys are dealing with. We haven't even gotten to the corner. We're 4 wide.
Oh, we knew it was going to come. How do they get off this corner and crunch it down? Pretty smooth, it looks like.
They're going to stay 3 wide. Can't tell if that's for the leader, if that's for second. Might be for first and a half. We'll call it that, as now they're going to start to get themselves settled out here. It's going to be moving to second, Kenneth Drake. Cageman back to third, as Shane Terrian's going to take the top position into 2.
Yeah, Terrian a little bit here, looking strong early, really digging it hard. But Kenneth Drake behind him. How long will it take? You mentioned Drake's chops, if you will, on the dirt here. It looks like he was adapting in practice.
Cam Caldwell and Cageman back there. Both of them were awfully loose off the corner on the straightaway as they come around to complete the second lap of this race. Kenneth Drake closes in what was about maybe 2 truck lengths to about half a truck length coming off the corner. Terrian a little high there off of 2. That opens the door for the 71.
Oh, and there he's going to peak. Can he get the momentum? How do you pull a slide job in these trucks? Oh, there goes Drake with it.
And he's going to clear for the spot. So Kenneth Drake last to first here in this heat, and it only took him about 3 laps to do it, as he'll try and put some daylight now between himself and Shane Terrian.
Yeah, that's where Terrian, if you're in this situation, you can't dig too hard. We see this a lot, Seth, for any guy that runs some of these dirt, races. You get behind, though, you think, oh, I got to push. Smooth as fast on the dirt. Don't push yourself too much.
Now we see these guys right now, they're running what would theoretically be the inside line if we had the paved version of Bristol. They do have all that space down there on the apron to work with as well, but I have to wonder if there's just too much difference in banking down there. The apron obviously a little bit flatter, more banking up in the turns, and if that would actually upset the way you'd be able to approach this racetrack with the back end swung out the way it is.
With these trucks, I think it's kind of a perfect blend. It's something I think a lot of the the dirt drivers, when we do you see trucks, NASCAR trucks on dirt, that you could do a bit more with those cars and be able to really hook that bottom like that. It'll be interesting, Seth, to see how these trucks adapt as the track wears down. Of course, with the dirt, do guys start moving lines? And I don't know if it'll be enough to kind of change the preferred groove.
This is the best battle on track right now for the race lead. They've got about a second back to third place. That's where Cam Caldwell currently rides. Matthew Rodriguez a full 5 seconds behind that in fourth, and Stephen Cageman holding down that fifth position. Obviously, for Stephen Cageman, he's not going to get the points that he wants to here in this heat, as he came into this race fourth in the overall standings, but he will have good starting track position for the upcoming B main, as it's going to be 2 laps to go this time around for Kenneth Drake. Shane Terrian's not letting him get away, but I have to wonder if right now maybe Shane Terrian's going to school, observing what the 71's doing, because we know that Drake was good in the big block series, so maybe Shane Terrian taking a little bit of notes here, lets the 71 on by and tries to mimic him into these corners.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Seth, really, because Terrian's running, he's experimenting a little bit, maybe kind of low midline. And it's not like he's going to have a bad finish in the heat. It's not like he's running for points per se here tonight. He's not running for the championship. So in these earlier races, really, like I said, learn and then figure it out how to put it together for that A main.
Coming around here as Kenneth Drake is going to take the checkered flag. He will be the winner of the first heat. Terrian, Caldwell, Rodriguez, and Cageman going to finish it out. And boy, it was fun to watch Kenneth Drake work his way from fifth up to first. He's going to be starting towards the back in an 18-truck field for the B main. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him try and tiptoe his way through the field then. But obviously, we've got a couple more heats to get through, and the second heat's going to find Robert Kenny on the pole position. He'll be alongside of the 66 of Derek Cook. Alonso Chicano, who we're used to seeing over in the Clutch Drop Cup Series. He is going to be rolling off third with Bob Giaquinto in fourth. Vincent Valvano and Mike Tellier going to bring up the third and final row. And it's going to be interesting to see, we saw a driver work their way from the back to the front of that first heat. Anybody here that you're looking at that might have caught your eye in practice that might be able to pull that off here in heat number 2?
Well, it's got to be, Mike Taylor. I know it's kind of the obvious answer, but really, he seemed to really grasp the concept well. At least, how to run a fresher track here in practice. It's really all about how you can maneuver. We saw Kenneth Drake make it look easy. I don't know if it'll be that easy for Mike Taylor, but I do think he is able to get through the field for this heat.
And how they line up here for these heat races are determined on the 10 minutes that they have in a qualifying session prior to this. Kenneth Drake, who started at the back of the pack for Heat 1, was the fastest, laid down the fastest qualifying lap, and Mike Tellier laid down the second fastest, which is why he is starting last for this second heat. We saw Robert Kenny last week at the Charlotte Roval run into some early issues in that A main, had a lot of front-end damage, but still was able to soldier his way to a decent finish. Here tonight, I would have to assume it's going to be even easier if your truck is damaged to stay in the competition, because you don't necessarily have to have the prettiest looking vehicle to be able to win a short track.
No, definitely not. Matthew Rodriguez is not on the track. That's who got him last week, so I think Kenny, at least in this heat, will be okay.
We should mention as well that these drivers do have a faster pair at their disposal when we get to the B main and the A main, so whether they need it or not will be up to them. Green flag in the air, another 10 laps, and we're already beating and banging for that second position.
Oh yeah, Kenny loves to see that because he got good clean jump right there. That's about trying to hold that down.
Alonso Chicano going to move into second as Derek Cook, he's got his hands full. He's going to let the 23 and the 99 around. Actually, correction, that's the 66 of Mike Tellier making the pass. Bob Giaquinto going to follow him into that fourth position. 66 is up on the top side, now falling back all the way to the sixth position, tail end of the field.
Yeah, you can't use that top side in these early heats, Seth. It's just really not the way.
See Alonso Chicano way up the track there. Boy, you saw he lost a ton of momentum as he almost brushed the wall with the right rear quarter panel, and then as he got off the gas, the car, or the truck in this case, migrated down into Mike Tellier.
Yeah, but those trucks are tough. You see Taylor took that bump and kept going. Hindered him a little bit, but we'll see if I don't think it's going to really affect him all that much.
You know, the thing is, too, you kind of get the luck of the draw if you're able to go out there in one of the first heats, no matter what series it's in, because you're out there on a slick racetrack, and all the grooves are going to work for you. All these guys here in heat number 2, upcoming heat number 3, they're having to work with what the drivers in heat number 1 left for them, so they're doing a lot more searching than the earlier guys did.
Yeah, and that will be, of course, the theme, as is usual with the dirt of any sort of just throughout the rest of the race this year, especially after we get through with that B main into the A main. It's a 50-lap A main, so what may work now, to your point, definitely not going to work come about lap 25 of that feature.
Ooh, look at the 23 of Bob Giaquinto get out of shape as he tries to reel in Alonso Chicano for third. Chicano actually up the track and into the wall there and lost a lot of momentum. That allows the 23 to challenge to his inside going into 3.
Yeah, cannot lose that momentum at any point. That's what these trucks are about, especially on dirt. You've got to be able to keep that thing moving.
Saw right there, Giaquinto actually went down on the apron. I was talking about that earlier, but the thing that I noticed that gives them a disadvantage, they can't really point the nose and get back to the throttle as soon as they would like off the turn. You saw Alonso Chicano on the top side, he was able to do that. So while that extreme inside line might gain you quite a bit on entry, it looks like it really hurts on exit.
Well, and there's a fine line to it, too. You definitely can't be all the way down there towards the inside wall because it just creates too much wheel spin. And like I say, you can't get the drive off. But, Seth, we got bound for this lead.
Mike Tellier has reeled in Robert Kenny. Got a little on the brakes there, I think, to avoid running into the back of the 34 as it's going to be 2 laps to go. Obviously, Mike Tellier wants to get himself those heat points, but both he and Robert Kenny, with where they're running right now, they're destined to be starting towards the rear of the field for the upcoming B main, but we'll see as they're going to come around here to receive the white flag. What kind of a battle is it going to be? Can the 34 hold off the 97 for a lap and a half?
Mike's put himself in a good spot to at least challenge one more time here after that slight contact a couple laps ago.
And he's running the ideal line right now, kind of forcing Mike Tellier to run even lower if he's going to get to his inside, which is going to hurt his corner exit. Tellier with a nice run there off of 2. I don't know if he's going to be within striking distance here, though. We'll see which line he takes. And he is. Oh, almost cleared that rear bumper of the 34, but could not quite get to it. Robert Kenny's going to take the checkered flag. He'll get the heat win. Tellier in second. Then Alonso Chicano, Bob Giaquinto, Derek Cook, and Vincent Valvano is going to actually finish in 6th. 38 had a little bit of an issue, I think, there in those last couple of laps. He was running 5th just a few laps ago.
And for all those watching at home, Seth, that is how you cleanly send it. Notice how Mike didn't absolutely destroy Robert. He sent it, but didn't touch him. Well done to both guys here.
That was a heat race. We got main races coming up. I have a feeling push is going to come to shove a little bit more than what we just saw right there.
Yeah, in the main, that's absolutely somebody getting sent.
Now, Chris Cabot was going to be our pole sitter for this heat. He did not make the grid, so subsequently Austin Grover in the 83 is going to move up a row and be the unofficial pole sitter here for the 3rd heat. Garrett Gleason will line up to his outside. Tristan Mayer, who is going to be locking up the championship here tonight, since he is one of the top 3 in points, the only one that showed up here this evening, and the points leader. 2-time winner coming into this race as well. Looking to go at least 50%, maybe 75% in starts and wins this season. He'll be alongside of Bill Edwards and Bobby Trapper. We talked about Kenneth Drake, the outgoing runner-up in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Bobby Trapper, the 2-time champion now of said series. So it's going to be interesting to watch how he does here in a stadium truck.
Yeah, we'll see if he tries to break, quickest to the front in this heat and try to match and one up Kenneth Drake.
Be another 10 laps here for these guys. Only 5 drivers will be taking the green flag in this one. We run 2 pace laps here since it is a track under a mile in length. The iRacing Pace Truck stays out for 2 pacing laps at all the short tracks, whether they are dirt or asphalt covered. It'll make that left-hand turn to pit road this time and get us underway for what should be our third and final heat of the night. See if these guys, if they observed anything in those first 2 heats and what they can apply here for this 10-lapper. Green flag is out. Boy, Bobby Trapper tried to time that jump there, and he's going to take it almost 3 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, he just about had it. Maybe a hair early, Seth. Maybe just a hair early.
3 wide, almost 4 wide. Contact there between Tristan Mayer and Bill Edwards. They continue to exchange contact heading into turn 3. Austin Grover going to try and pull away on that top side as they continue to rub doors for second place.
Yeah, and this is not what Bobby Trapper wants to see in front of him. It's really hard, as we're noting here, to get under somebody when they're already down there. So he's having to really dig right now, Seth.
The only driver that came into this race, even in the same zip code as Tristan Mayer as far as points, was Stephen Cageman, and we saw him finish 5th back in his heat race. Tristan Mayer way ahead of him by 40 points coming into this race, so really mathematically impossible for Cageman to be able to snipe this championship away, but even more so with the fact that Tristan Mayer right now running higher in his heat than Cageman finished in his first heat. And Tristan Mayer wants more. He's going to look down to the inside of Bill Edwards, and he will clear off of turn 4 for that spot.
Oh, what a clean move right there. Sized him up for a lap and, made it stick and got under him. Now he's got to deal with Bobby Trapper on his rear end, though.
Tristan Mayer coming off that victory last week at the Charlotte Roval. He had a win before that, the week before that, at Crandon International, trying to go 3 in a row for his championship season. And here comes Bobby Trapper to the outside. He'll get around Bill Edwards for 3rd place. Now he puts the pressure on the 98. Austin Grover's loving this. He's not even looking in his rearview mirror right now, I'll bet.
Oh, yeah, it's all about focusing on hitting those marks. When you see the guys behind you going at it, you're just saying, hey, I got to maximize this opportunity. That is exactly what he's trying to do.
Halfway through, as lap 6 goes on to the board, battle for second continues to be the best battle on track. Tristan Mayer with a rear bumper full of Bobby Trapper. Tristan Mayer up 2 spots from 4th. Bobby Trapper up 2 spots from last. And they're going to take it side by side coming off of turn number 4. Advantage to the 2 by half a truck length. Doesn't have him quite cleared, but a little slip up there by Tristan Mayer will allow him to take second place.
Yeah, you got to put the respect, though, there on Mayer. Look at this comeback, too. Maybe the crossover. Giving fits right now to Mr. Trapper.
Boy, but he's got his hands full there trying to keep that thing in a straight line. And that's one of the things about Bristol as well is, at most tracks you don't have all that banking to have to deal with on the straightaways. But there's actually quite a bit of degrees of banking here on the back and front straightaways at Bristol. So you're still turning left when you come off the corner. And as we know, that old adage, turn right to go left, it applies even to the straights here at Bristol as much as the corners.
Well, not only that, Seth, but with these trucks, especially as compared to if you were doing, any of the NASCAR cars or a traditional dirt car, these shocks really make it be a different feel with these, different degrees of banking that you're talking about.
Be getting the white flag this time by, and Bobby Trapper is on a mission. Man, he drove it into 3, gained about a truck length and a half, tries to get alongside of Austin Grover. He's going to have 2 more shots at him here. Tries it in 1 and 2, not quite there. We'll see what he's able to do with the 83 over here in 3 and 4. Grover has led every lap so far, but can he lead the last couple of corners?
Oh, I think he's got it. He really did a nice job of blocking Trapper off to get the big run.
Off of turn 4, Austin Grover is going to win heat number 3. Trapper brings it home second. Tristan Mayer, Bill Edwards, and Garrett Gleason going to finish out the top 5 for this heat race. And for Austin Grover, I believe that might be his first heat win of the season. So congratulations to him. That now sets us up for our B main race. Those heat races were 10 laps in length. Now we're getting ready for a 15-lap shootout, and all 18 trucks are going to be out there at the same time.
This is where it's going to get crazy. If you didn't think the heat races were good, wake up for this one.
All the drivers that finished last in their respective heats are going to be your top three for the starting lineup. Vincent Valvano is, I believe, going to be the pole sitter. Garrett Gleason will line up in second. Looks like Derek Cook is going to be the third place driver for this. Looks like a few drivers at the moment not going to make the grid. They didn't make the grid for their heats as well. Chris Gabot and Bobby Puckett. Looks like neither one of them will be making the grid here. So we should have 16 drivers that will take the green flag. Still, with even though we don't have the 18, 16 drivers, the most drivers that we've had so far this season, topping the 15 that were at both Bark River International and last week at the Charlotte Roval.
I mean, this is a fun series. I don't blame these guys for continuing to add a couple numbers here and there. I mean, you can't get much better action. The inverts and everything, too, kind of keep everybody involved. It makes for a good race environment.
So here's the thing I got to ask you, 15 laps of racing here, 50 laps in the upcoming A main. Are you going out there trying to be aggressive here, or are you kind of dropping to the back, setting yourself up for good starting track position for the upcoming main event?
That's a really good question because with 15 laps, it seems like a long time, but that's only 5 more laps in the heat. That's not a lot of time to work through a field that's essentially 3 times as big as what you dealt with in the heat if you're Kenneth Drake or if you're Bobby Trapper or somebody like that. So, boy, I don't know, Seth. I mean, I think you got to go for it, but you got to make sure you pick your spots right because you don't want to get involved in something ugly here in the B main.
Our 3 heat winners going to be starting at the back of the pack, as mentioned with the inverted field. They'll be rolling off from 14th, 15th, and 16th place. Grover, Kenny, and Drake. We'll see if they're going to be able to fight their way up through the field here in what's only 15 laps, only 5 laps more than what they had to work with in those heat races. As you mentioned, now the field is triple the size of what they had to deal with in their respective heat races. It's going to be Garrett Gleason, I believe, that's going to be bringing us down here. Correction, Derek Cook was now the pole sitter, moving up a couple of rows. He leads them into turn 1. Vincent Valvano, Bill Edwards said, we're 5 wide. 5 wide at Bristol Dirt. Look at this gaggle of trucks.
Oh, somebody's up and over.
That, I think, was a 23 of Bob Giacchino. No caution going to come out, however.
Yeah, I believe they're not throwing cautions unless the track is absolutely blocked. Other than that,
oh boy, Cagerman back there out of shape.
Oh, he's rolling.
Gleason's up and flipping. Oh my goodness. Well, we got a flip counter. We're up to 2.
Up to 2. Although with Gleason, he rolled multiple times. Can we add that one right there? A couple more.
I think we could add that, definitely. I don't know how many times he flipped over, but we'll count as many as he did, as this is the gaggle right now around the 4th position. Bobby Trapper, Shane Thierry, and Derek Cook in this mix. Cam Caldwell as well. Half a second ahead of all this is Bill Edwards. He has checked out with the top position.
Yeah, he's sitting pretty right now. Loved all the chaos behind him, a little bit in front of him, avoided. That's what you got to do sometimes in these heats. Oh, we got action back there. Somebody's around.
That's Derek Cook in the 66 facing the wrong way. Got a little help from Kenneth Drake, and then a little further contact from the 34 of Robert Kenny. Drake has moved up 7 spots since the drop of the green flag, but Bobby Trapper, who finished 2nd in his heat, he's picked up 8 spots since the start, from 11th now up to 3rd, and looking for more.
Oh, he has been surgical, avoiding all the booby, or should I say maybe bobby traps, on his way through the field here, doing an excellent job.
And Shane Terrian has also picked up multiple spots, up 9 positions since the start. Terrian, of course, finishing 2nd back in heat number 1, and they were 3 wide there coming off of turn 4. That was Matthew Rodriguez up and against the wall. Mike Tellier to his inside, and then Cam Caldwell on the extreme inside of that 3 wide situation. They have now settled it out from 5th back to 7th.
I'm proud of Rodriguez. I thought he'd be one of the first guys to flip in this B-main, but he's done an excellent job. Kept fighting.
Trapper now to the inside of Valvano for 2nd place. He's going to clear for that spot heading into turn 3. Shane Terrian going to follow in his tire tracks as he sends it into the corner. He'll try and clear Valvano off of the front straightaway and into turn 1. Bill Edwards, for the time being, he's been enjoying the view out in front, but there's some fast trucks that have now moved into 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, he can't sip the tee out front any longer. He's going to have to get those elbows up because he's going to have to get ready to defend here. Look at Trapper with the big run in.
Edwards coming off a 3rd place run last week at the Charlotte Roval. And right now, looking to see if he can pick up the win here in the B main. Bobby Trapper and Shane Tyrion finished second in their respective heats. They want to finish one position better here in the B main. And I'm noticing a couple of guys here, some of them that went to the back, not necessarily of their own accord, but there's a couple of others that are just kind of riding back there for the time being. Robert Kenny and Tristan Mayer, we know that they've got fast trucks, but it looks like they're not really in any hurry to fight their way up inside of the top 10.
Well, not only that, I think they were a bit caught up in some of that action we saw with the flips and the wrecks. So, yeah, not sure how their trucks are. They may be a little limped, and with it being the B main, really no big deal, like we talked about, because that invert will happen, and maybe they find themselves in the right spot.
Trapper to the inside of Edwards, looking for the top position. Edwards trying to get that advantage on the outside, get back to the throttle sooner. They still stay side by side. Battle behind them is for the fourth position. Cam Caldwell looking for that spot on Vincent Valvano. And boy, Edwards putting up a good fight here on the outside line, kind of pinching Bobby Trapper down, not allowing him to get back to the throttle. Might have to give way this time, though, as he rides a little too high in the corner.
Yeah, well, and he was pinching him down well in 1 and 2, and if you notice, Seth, there's a lot more slick right now in the middle of the corner in 1 and 2 as opposed to 3 and 4. So that move that Edwards was using in 1 and 2 does not work in 3 and 4 as well because it's still a bit fresher down there.
Tellier drove it in deep, 3 wide for 4th place. He got into Cam Caldwell, who in turn got into Vincent Valvano. They all went up into the wall. Tellier still battling with Caldwell for 4th place, and this has brought Kenneth Drake into the mix in that 71 machine. We saw that, it's going to get into Valvano. Valvano trying to save it. Drake backs off to allow him to gather it back up, but Drake had that earlier contact, which kind of slowed up his progress. He's trying to cut up here into the top 5 before the checkered flag.
That's what makes this invert so enticing because, a guy like Drake who still have a lot of speed, you just find that little bit of trouble and then all of a sudden you're in a fight to really work your way through the field. You got to avoid those landmines coming through.
Bobby Trapper to the inside of the slower machine of Austin Grover, going to put him a lap down. Grover, who had that win back in the 3rd heat. Bill Edwards and Shane Tyrion look to make the pass as well. Going to be the white flag out this time for Bobby Trapper. He's got about half a second back to a good battle for 2nd place here on the final lap.
Boy, they're door to door, throwing a few elbows here. Can Therian or Shane Therian stick at one time? I don't know if you can, Seth. It's tough.
Trying to get back to the throttle off the corner, but not going to quite get there. Bobby Trapper with the win. Bill Edwards holds on for 2nd. Shane Tyrion in 3rd, then Cam Caldwell and Mike Tellier the top 5. And the thing I'm looking at here that makes me chuckle is you look at that 50 of Bill Edwards, front of that car looks pretty clean. That's because he spent most of this B main out in front. Everybody else has got all that dirt caked up on the front of their trucks.
Yeah, it's probably, you knew it was probably a good race if your front end in a dirt race isn't that dirty, right?
So Bobby Trapper, he had to work his way from 13th up to that race lead, and he's going to have to do it all over again because he's going to be starting shotgun with the inverted field here in the A main. But 50 laps of racing, and we were told that they cannot make that full 50 laps on fuel, about maybe 40 to 42 laps projected that they can go. So one thing that we have not seen so far here tonight in these short sprints is green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is, too, similar to the B main, there will not be any cautions, I believe, unless it's just an absolute packed logjam demolition derby. So that being said, Seth, how light do you think these guys played a little bit kind of early? Because, like I said, 40 to 42 laps, so if guys take it easy a little bit the first 10 laps, then you get in trouble from there. You could just come down, hit your pit stop, hit your fast repair if you need be, and be good. That's what I'm curious about some of these guys in the back, like a Bobby Trapper, like a Bill Edwards, and some of those other guys. How safe do you play it early?
I agree with you that, it's going to be interesting to see if they kind of take this into a more methodical type race, because you put a driver out there, you tell them, hey, you got 10, 15 laps to get it done. They're going to go out there and race every lap like it's the last. But you put them with a 50-lap run, yeah, I agree with you. I think that things are going to be a little bit calmer. Drivers are going to be a little bit more patient in how they make the passes. I say that now, but then again, it is Bristol, and they are going to be wadded up. So, I think maybe these first few laps are going to be the telltale story of just who's got the strategy of ride for the moment and who's going to be all-out aggressive from the drop of the green.
It'd be interesting though. I mean, that B main was spectacular. 15 laps of action. They got a full 50 here. How many trucks are going to be left standing at the end of this?
It'd be interesting to find out. Of course, as mentioned, these drivers do have a faster pair at their disposal, but I don't think anybody used the faster pair back in that 15-lap B main, and we'll see if anybody, knowing that there's going to be a green flag pit stop they'll have to make if they may choose to use the faster pair then and there. Garrett Gleason and Bob Giaquinto, both of these drivers found out these trucks can barrel roll at Bristol under the last main event. Now they're going to be our front row leading us to green, and we're 4 wide back there around the 7th position, 3 wide up around 3rd.
Oh, well, we thought they were going to be a bit gentle, but it looks like not the case here. Ooh, 4 5 wide off the corner.
Almost looking 6 there was Matthew Rodriguez
Golly.
and Cageman, and they all somehow, some way, made it at least half the course. They're all going to make it around here for a green flag lap. I'm not sure how, don't ask me.
Well, almost. Cageman wound up in the wall on the inside 3-4. Oh, wreck back there.
That's going to be Bill Edwards, who finished 2nd in the B main. Austin Grover, who had the front end missing back in the B main race as well. He's got that hood missing once
Drake
again.
turned around.
Yep, Kenneth Drake in the 71, one of our heat winners from earlier on tonight. He has found trouble. Just name him off. Oh, someone's over the pit wall.
Yeah,
and now
this
Shane
is a
Tyrion's
big
over
one.
the pit wall after he got nailed by
We got
Robert
a
Tenney.
smoker. This is ugly early.
Oh, boy.
We said survive, right? Shane Theory in a fast truck. He may be really behind here. I mean, I don't know who that was over the wall. We're going to have to find out, but boy.
25 of
couple big
Alonso
trucks.
Chicano, I think, but I'm not 100% certain. I couldn't tell, couldn't see the livery on the car because the underneath of the car was facing up.
That's at least one fast truck early, Seth, has now found some big trouble. This might be one of those races where a sneaky kind of dark horse we haven't seen in the heats or the B main takes it.
Shane Tyrien down pit road. He took on a faster pair. Vincent Valvano, looks like he was on pit road for a moment. Now he's on pit road again in the 38. And Alonso Chicano had to call for the tow. That's why he still sits on pit road. And, you know, here's the thing, too. You put all these drivers out there and you tell them, hey, the championship is basically decided. Just go out there and race and have fun. Finish out the season with a W. That might be why we're not really seeing anybody hanging back either. Because, hey, you either bring home the trophy or bring home the steering wheel.
Yeah, especially at Bristol. I think that is a very fair point, Seth. It is a little bit of Ricky Bobby mentality. Hey, I'm going first or last. Speaking of first or last, though, Bobby Trapper quietly has once again navigated his way through all the mess, Seth, and is up to 2nd.
And look who he's trying to reel in. Tristan Mayer has now found his way to the front, looking for 3 wins in a row. And, you know, we haven't really talked a lot about him here tonight because he's been, for the most part, quiet. He finished 3rd in his heat race. He finished back around the 9th position in the B main. But now when it counts and the maximum points are being paid out, he's up here in the front in the A main.
And that's how you want to be, right? I mean, you want to be the big money. That's why you get guys like Kyle Larson that you'll see this, especially on a dirt night, right? You'll see some of these aces, if you will, maybe have, like I said, quiet heats, maybe a quiet B main if they get involved in that. Then all of a sudden, come the big money moment, they are right there. And that's what Tris Maher has excelled at the last couple weeks.
Good battle here for the 3rd position. Garrett Gleason up the track, might have been trying to get out of the way of Mike Tellier and Cam Caldwell. Derek Cook in the 66 now trying to close in for 5th. He's got his hands full with the 27. Matthew Rodriguez as they're going to make some contact. Rodriguez hits the wall. Cook nearly loses it on that inside line. And Kenneth Drake, who we saw in trouble back on the first lap of this race, he's now worked his way up to the 8th position, and he's going to try and take 7th from Matthew Rodriguez. He sends it into 3.
Yeah, Drake fighting tooth and nail. Didn't have the B main he wanted, but he's trying to make up for that in the A main. We know he's fast, right up there with Mr. Trapper. And if he can make some good headway, this is a great recovery right now, Seth. And once again, continue to be shocked that Matthew Rodriguez has not flipped once. Very proud of him right now.
Looks like Alonso Chicano, he is going to be the first retiree out of the A main. He'll finish in 16th place here tonight in what I believe was his only start of this short series. Up towards the front, though, the battle brewing looks like it might be for 3rd place. Cam Caldwell has not let Mike Tellier get away. As a matter of fact, he's kind of been following Mike Tellier, allowing him to make the passes sliding on through. Both drivers have picked up 9 spots since the drop of the green.
Yeah, sometimes it's fun to find that guy where you say, hey, I'm just going to stick behind you, take me to the promised land. Sometimes you got to do that. And when you find that guy,
Mike Tellier's coming to pit road. I was wondering about this. The
Yeah.
window's open now for these drivers to make it the rest of the way, and there is no caution for these guys to be able to fall back on, so you can basically pit whenever you want to, and no freak caution is going to come out and trap you a lap down.
Well, not only that, I think this is smart by Taylor because it's a spot in the race where he knows he's not dealing with lap traffic. You only have to worry about a guy or two behind him. Whereas, Tris Maher or Bobby Trapper, they keep battling Seth and they go 30, 40 laps into this run. They're going to have to pit under green while probably dealing with some lap traffic as well. So I kind of like what Mike's doing here, taking a long route, and it may pay off at the end.
Two drivers I'm a little bit worried about whether they'd be able to make it on fuel or not are Shane Tyrion and Vincent Albano. Now, granted, both of them had to come down pit road to repair very early damage that they sustained in the first couple laps of this race, but at that point, we really weren't in the fuel window for these drivers to make it the rest of the way, so I'm not so certain that they'd be able to make it to the conclusion of what they've got in the tank.
Yeah, and Albano 4 laps down. He's pretty much, he needs a miracle. Shane, though, a lap down to your point, could still make that up. I just, if he has to pit again, like you're talking about, it's pretty much over for him, suffering that early setback.
66 of Derek Cook having some trouble there. His last couple of corners, he's not been able to stay off the outside wall, and he's losing positions as a result. These are some lap machines that are going around him right now. Garrett Gleason and Robert Kenny, both those drivers have been to pit road. That was a pass for position, though. Bill Edwards now moving up to 6th place. Now trying to go around the lap machine of Kenny and trying to close in on 5th place, right now being held by Matthew Rodriguez. Battle for 3rd place starting to close up. Kenneth Drake has reeled in Cam Caldwell.
Kenneth Drake continues to drive the wheels off that thing right now, Seth. Really putting in a solid performance after some early trouble. Didn't get it seemed like obviously the worst of it, and has made the most of trying to win some of these one-on-one battles. How about the crossover back by Caldwell, though?
And having to get on the brakes there was Kenneth Drake, so that allows Cam to hold on to 3rd place for the time being. And, you saw the pass that Kenneth Drake made on Cam Caldwell. It was literally a paper-thin space that he was able to clear his rear bumper to the front bumper of the 12. It's tough enough with a stock car at any type of configured racetrack to clear yourself. That's why they have spotters. I can't imagine how difficult it is to clear yourself here at a track like Bristol Dirt.
Oh, yeah. It's not fun. You got to be talking about head on swivel, maybe a third eye if possible.
Stephen Cageman, you mentioned that he was one of the first drivers to get into trouble here in this A-Main. That might have actually been a blessing in disguise, because then, while all the mayhem was taking place in front of him, he was able to drive through. He's now up to 8th, trying to take 7th away from Derek Cook. And said you don't necessarily have to win a beauty contest with your truck here to be competitive. There's Austin Grover, no hood. He's now moved by Cageman up to 8th position, still on the lead lap.
Yeah, Grover, when he makes his pit stop and is able to probably use that fast repair, watch out for him to maybe make a late charge into the top 5, possibly top 3. We know he's fast. Held off Trapper for a heat win.
Yes, he did. Won that 3rd heat. We have another driver that's down pit road and is taking on his service and fast repair, Stephen Cageman, in the 22. So it looks like since the drop of the green flag, we've had a total of 7 drivers come down and take service. Make that 8. Here comes 3rd place Cam Caldwell onto pit lane.
Not bad here. Close to split in half. Like I said, he just finds you a clean spot, when you're not dealing with some lap traffic, to come in, get a quick pit stop. Because that's what it's about, right? It's almost kind of like a Formula One sitting where you're not necessarily worried about running against your opponent at a time like this. You're worried about making as little time as possible. Oh, woo! Big send there by Trapper. Almost wiped out Maher.
Yeah, Tristan Mayer actually got held up by Matthew Rodriguez, was trying to put him a lap down, and Bobby Trapper wanted to capitalize on that loss of momentum, tried the inside line, couldn't quite make it work, as he and Tristan Mayer, 1st and 2nd, nearly went around there at the halfway point. And a thing that people may not think much about, but it actually does play into, I think, the strategy of when these drivers come to pit road as well, is tires. Because when you're out there on tires at the start, you're up there at pretty premium temperatures, which means the hotter the tires are, the more grip you've got going into the corner. As the run goes on at a dirt track, the tires actually cool down, and the cooler the tires get, the slicker they're going to be going into the turn. So that might be why some of these guys would like to stretch as far as possible, come down pit road, and have those warm tires available for the final stint.
Yeah, and that's possible. And, combine that with the slicker track and how these trucks really like to swing on the back end. I'm interested to see how some of these guys lap about 35 on, adapt. And, the champ of this series right now, he's doing it again, Seth. He just continues to click off really good laps. And, Bobby Trapper kind of sweated a little bit. You could see if you're following the last couple laps here, he's kind of up and down a little bit, trying some different lines. And Tristan on there is just very smooth at the wheel. That's what I noticed last week about Charlotte. He's doing the same thing here tonight.
Yeah, the interesting thing here too is, in this schedule, you've got so many different types of tracks that are out there that these drivers have to deal with. You had the Rallycross road course type track at Bark River to open up the season. You had the second race at Crandon International, the short track there. You had, of course, the road course with the Charlotte Roval last week, and now leading the race here at Bristol Dirt. I mean, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades to be able to win the championship here. You have to be consistent at every type of track, and Tristan Mayer's done just that. Winner in the last 2 races and trying to go for 3 in a row to close out a championship season.
Yeah, now dealing with some of that lap traffic like we were talking about, we're down to 7 guys on the lead lap here. I'll make that 6 now, Seth. And of course, part of that is with all these guys pitting. So I'm interested to see, though, where this kind of all shakes out, because you got some guys back there that haven't pitted yet, but we know can be fast. A guy like Bill Edwards, Kenneth Drake's in 3rd right now. Are they going to have enough really to kind of make a charge?
Looking at the lap times right now, and both 2nd and 3rd place ran about 0.2 of a second faster than race leader Tristan Mayer. Granted, they're all out there on the same set of tires they had at the initial drop of the green flag here. Looks like Bill Edwards going to be the first one in the top 5 that's going to hit pit lane from the 4th position.
And that would be interesting, because you're talking about the heat in the tires. Obviously, these are fuel-only pit stops, so that's the other part of this conversation too. I think guys like Tristan Mayer and Trapper, like you were saying, want to stretch this out as far as possible because they're feeling good. Maybe a guy like Bill Edwards is faster, as these kind of tires change and go on about. So that will be interesting to see who's able to make up time there.
Well, Edwards we saw come to pit lane, 2nd and 3rd place on pit road as well. Bobby Trapper and Kenneth Drake. Looks like now the 66 of Derek Cook is on pit road. So now only 3 drivers yet to come down and make a pit stop here. You see 2 of them in this shot. Tristan Mayer, the race leader. The 83 of Austin Grover, last car on the lead lap, currently in the 3rd position. And then Bob Giacinto in the 23, also yet to make a pit stop here with less than 20 laps to go.
How long does Mayer wait now? Obviously, he's not worried about Giacinto or Grover. But now that Trapper's made his pit stop, how long do you wait, Seth? I mean, does he go the full 40 here? Maybe the full 42? I'm going to be curious how he tries to decide this.
Yeah, we know that on equal tires that Drake and Trapper were running faster than Tristan Mayer. Granted, that could have been as well that Tristan Mayer was dealing with traffic at the time. But now, if you compare the lap times between himself and we'll actually compare it to Kenneth Drake, who right now is cycled into the 4th position. But that last time by, a 22.0 for Tristan Mayer, a 22.2 for Kenneth Drake. So, at least for the time being, coming down pit road at the time that he did, has not really gained Kenneth Drake anything in terms of track position, but there's still a lot of stuff that could take place. Tristan Mayer could have a pit road miscue, could be speeding on pit road. I mean, it may not be all that easy swinging that car around the corner and trying to get it down to pit road speed by the time you hit that commitment line.
Yeah, definitely true, and that's really probably the only thing he's got to watch out for, because it looks like, though, maybe Kenneth Drake's starting to find his footing there. You mentioned the lap times. Drake at 0.83 that time. Mayer was down to he's been in the 22 twos the last few laps, 22 threes. Part of that is lap traffic, but still, it seems like maybe there's a little bit of that transition of a lap or two at least, kind of get used to the tires again after that pit stop.
As you mentioned, with these pit stops, it's put a number of drivers, a number of fast trucks a lap down, since Tristan Mayer has not yet made a pit stop. You saw there just moments ago, the only other driver that right now is scored on the lead lap, Bob Giacinto, and he's running a little less than a straightaway ahead of Tristan Mayer. So Tristan Mayer almost has the entire field lapped. It'll be interesting to see just how many drivers are on the lead lap when he eventually comes to pit road, and I believe that there are actually 4 drivers, Mayer, Giaquinto, Grover, and Matthew Rodriguez, who have not made a pit stop yet. I think Rodriguez may have run so low out of one of the corners it read him as started to come to pit road, so it actually reset our stint counter on that 27, but I think he's yet to come to pit lane. Now we can check Austin Grover off that list, and there's the beauty of the fast repair, folks. Truck's back in 100% pristine condition as he finishes up his pit stop, and here come the top 2.
Here's the big question, because it looks like Kenneth Drake actually came out ahead of Bobby Trapper there through the pit sequence. So is he going to be close enough to give Mayer a challenge?
Just moments ago unlapped himself, but Matthew Rodriguez a little bit of trouble getting into his pit stall there. Right in front of now race leader Tristan Mayer, but for how long? There's
close.
Kenneth Drake. It's going to be close. Coming off pit road is Tristan Mayer. Just heading into the corner is Kenneth Drake. These two might be only separated by maybe 5 truck lengths here when everything cycles around.
Yeah, how about Kenneth Drake? Told you, really was digging the wheels off of it there early to make up some of that lost ground, and he's just kept that rhythm going. I mean, Bobby Trapper is a good, it looks like, half track or so. I mean, it's not close. So somewhere Bobby did not maximize the time very well. It's also got Cam Caldwell for him to work through too.
Yeah, when the pit stops began, Trapper was running second. He's now fallen back to 4th place. Robert Kenny, after having to make an early pit stop, he's now cycled up to 5th place. And then Austin Grover will be the last truck currently scored on the lead lap in the 6th position. I believe that's actually him just up ahead, a couple of trucks ahead of Tristan Mayer, so we'll see if he can stay on the lead lap here with 7.5 laps remaining. That is the 38 lap truck of Vincent Valvano on the inside of race leader Tristan Mayer, and you can see that gap, it is visibly closing. Last couple of laps, it hasn't been much, but it's been about maybe 8, 9 100ths that Kenneth Drake has been faster, and sometimes at a dirt track, hundredths is all you need.
Yeah, well, it's about stacking those hundredths, really, because rare is it at a dirt track that you're going to really see 1 lap, maybe even 2 lap difference that big. It's about stacking those small increments. And Kenneth Drake, that time, it looked like, tried something a little different, Seth. Maybe it was to get around Valvano, I'm not sure, but lost himself quite a bit of time maybe taking that top.
We see some traffic up ahead of the race leaders. I believe those are 2 drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. The yellow machine, Robert Kenny in the 34. The black truck is Austin Grover in the 83. They're in their own little battle right now for the final spot inside of the top 5. Kenneth Drake might have one last-ditch effort if Tristan Mayer catches those 2 trucks in the wrong area at the wrong time. He's only got 5 laps to be able to work with, and he's got to make up about a second in distance.
Yeah, you've got to really hope, like you're talking about, that those 2 trucks are going to fight hard enough to hold up Mayer just enough, because that's really all he needs. He needs to be able to get to his back bumper close to maybe get one good send-it type of move and hope it sticks.
We talked about drivers that were fast, going to have to start towards the rear of the field here for this A main after good runs in the B main, the inverted field, and how long it would take for them to get to the front. Tristan Mayer picked up 7 spots, Kenneth Drake up 9, Bobby Trapper up 13, and Cam Caldwell up 9 from where they started this A-main race. They slowly, methodically worked their way up here into the top 5, and looks like, barring any late issues, that's where they're going to finish. Tristan Mayer looking for his 3rd win in a row, looking to go 75% in wins on the season.
Not only that, he would do it over arguably 2 of the best on the dirt side, too, from this series. So that would be, a big way to cap off a championship run.
Got that 83 up ahead there of Austin Grover. Looks like he may catch him here on this final lap. We'll have to wait and see, or will he just let the 83 have that position? Well, 83 is going to get up into the wall there, lose some momentum through 1 and 2, but long distance back, about a 1.5 seconds to Kenneth Drake. And you said it, a great championship season for Tristan Mayer, and what a way to cap it off. 3rd win on the year out of 4 races. Tristan Mayer wins the Blame Shelley 200 and is the champion of the TNR Summer Stadium Trucks.
Couldn't ask for a better performance from him. Took those notes like we were talking about a little bit in the heat and the B main. Got it done when it came for the big money.
Tristan Mayer, his worst finish this season was 4th. That was in the season opener at Bark River International. And I mean, obviously he's hit some bumps in the heat races. He's been fairly consistent in the B main, but you said it, when the big money's on the line, when the big points are paid out, that is when Tristan Mayer rises to the occasion. That's a big reason why he came into tonight pretty much already crowned the champion with the points lead he'd been able to build up.
Yeah, and you could just tell in his drive, no matter what, always seemed smooth, always seemed confident, never seemed shaken really, and just kept at it. And that's what it's about, right? Just the steadiness and the consistency. It's such an underrated thing. People think when you're out there driving, it's just about being fast. When you go through such a diverse schedule in terms of racetracks, like we talked about, even in this 4 race series, it takes a lot of work to be able to be this smooth and to be this dominant.
Burning it down here tonight at Bristol Dirt. There was a big debate going on during this week whether they should run the dirt version of Bristol or the asphalt version of Bristol. Personally, I'm glad they ran the Bristol dirt version because
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
a
a good
lot of
time.
fun to watch there on those starts with the B and A mains. And Tristan Mayer able to make his way through all the dirt flying and the dust kicking up and able to pick up this victory after starting from the 10th position.
Something too back there. Cam Caldwell, Bobby Trapper had a heck of a battle for that third spot. Caldwell gets the best of it at the end, Seth. They were going back and forth a bit. I thought Trapper was going to take it, but just couldn't quite get enough there.
Here's a look at the finishes here. And you look at a couple of these guys mounting some good comeback runs from the A main. Bob Giaquinto was a guy we saw
Yeah.
flipping over on the first couple laps of the B main and was able to bring it home for a solid run of 7th. Austin Grover had that heat win tonight, but he didn't fare all that well in the beginning stages of the B main. He was able to bring his wounded machine home, still inside of the top 10 in 6th position. And even Robert Kenny, that's why you kind of, even if you have those early issues in a race like this, you still go out there and try and log as many laps as possible because Kenny ran into problems back in the first 5 laps of this main event, still brought it home in a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely digging the hustle. You can say same for Kenneth Drake. I would have really been interested, Seth, to see what would have happened had Kenneth Drake kind of made it through a bit cleaner, similar to how Tristan and Cam Caldwell did, because we might have had a heck of a finish right there. Still a great effort, though, from a lot of those guys in the top 10.
A couple of these drivers were not able to come back from some issues they had early on. Shane Terrian, Garrett Gleason, Mike Tellier, Stephen Cageman, all those drivers had issues in the first 5 or so laps of this race. Vincent Valvano, he was able to continue on, but 9 laps down, the only driver that actually finished this race behind the wall was Alonso Chicano, finishing in 16th. You see Bobby Puckett and Chris Cabot scored in 17th and 18th. They did not take the green flag here tonight in either their respective heats or in either of the main events. But man, I mean, we had a blast up here in the booth. Let's find out what these drivers felt like out there on track, weaving their cars around this half-mile track of Bristol dirt. Let's kick things off with our third place finisher, Cam Caldwell. Hey, Cam, it's Tyler and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yep.
Wow. I mean, we had a blast watching you guys out there here tonight under the lights at this short track, but just how much of a handful was it inside the cockpit of that number 12?
Oh, it was a handful, but this is one of the most fun things I've ever done in iRacing. That was a blast.
Now, Cam, you, like many of those other guys out there, showed flashes of speed in the heats, maybe the B main a little bit, but it seemed like you continually kept learning. And what do you think of yourself to come out with the top 3 at the end of it?
Well, I haven't done any of these races this season, so I was just kind of coming in with no knowledge of how anyone drove or what these things drove or drive like. I've driven them before, but not on an oval, so that was definitely interesting. I was all right in practice, but I wasn't super fast compared to other guys, and in the heat, I was all right. I wasn't really sure what to expect in the race, but I just felt like if I could keep it clean, I'd be all right. And sure enough, it seemed like that worked out for me.
Cam, obviously, you guys in the heats and in the B main, you pretty much had sprints. You didn't really have a lot of opportunity to be able to have to search around for grip since you didn't really have a real long run. 50 laps here for the A main, though, and obviously we know that any dirt track, whether it's at Bristol or any other track that's out there, a lot of searching has to go on to be able to find grip the later the run goes on. How much searching did you have to do, and when did that start taking place?
I'm not exactly sure when it started taking place, but there was a point later in the race where the top came in, and I was not expecting that at all. I was racing with Bobby, and I believe it was, I don't remember who it was. I think it was a 27. He was kind of holding Bobby up by running the top. And so we both finally passed him, and I ran the top, and I got around him. And I was pretty much able to hold that spot for the rest of the race. He did get around me, and I got back around him on the last lap. But yeah, no, the grip definitely changed from my experience in practice. I was not expecting the top to come in at all, but it certainly did, and it was a lot of fun having two lanes working.
Well, Cam, congratulations on a great performance here tonight. Kept your car up there, your truck in this case, in the top 5 in this A main, and were able to get that final podium position there in a great battle with Bobby Trapp in the final closing laps. We're now going to give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, so just my team, Radius Racing, everyone on the team. We had Mike Racing and Tristan who won the thing. So good for him, good for Mike. I don't think Mike did super hot. I think he had an issue in pit road, but me and Mike are racing really hard at the beginning of the race and in the B main too, and that was a ton of fun. And then I know my co-owner for the Radius, Adam, is watching, so shout out to Adam. And thanks to all of our sponsors in the Pits News, the main one, and everyone else.
Cam Caldwell, P3 here tonight at Bristol Dirt in the season finale for the TNR Summer Stadium Trucks. Congrats on a great run there, Cam.
Thanks, guys.
Let's talk to tonight's runner-up, Kenneth Drake. Kenneth, it's Tyler and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, you got me loud and clear.
Yes, we do. Well, man, you know, I've talked to you several times during the course of the season when we were covering the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. I know that you're really good at wheeling the modifieds around the dirt track, but just how much different was it dealing with a stadium truck here tonight?
Oh, it's insane. I mean, for the heat race, once I got out front, it was just flat foot the whole way around the track and hope it didn't get too free. And in the feature, you had to feather it a little bit, but you just had to go in there and hit your marks every lap. If not, the truck just would get extremely loose in the center.
Now, Kenneth, you know, it seemed like after in the A main there, you had to battle through some of that kind of craziness at the start, but once you got through that, really, you know, lap 15 onward, it seemed like you just found an extra gear compared to everybody. What did you find out? Was there a big secret that you found out, or just kind of get the rhythm, if you will?
Man, after I got into it with Tristan, I felt if I would have passed him, it would have been long gone, and I would have just danced away. But I had to get and start hustling it harder and harder at coming through the field, and just hope pit stops would matter. And I didn't realize I would jump people that far on a little bit of pit stop there.
Yeah, we knew going in that you guys weren't going to be able to make it the full 50 laps on what you had in the tank. So did you have a pit strategy in mind, or was it kind of play it by ear and wait and see what everybody else did?
I just kind of played it by ear. I wanted to pit halfway or later. I know some guys pitted earlier and took less fuel, but I'd figured I'd just pit later while the track got slower and I wasn't losing all the time in the beginning of the race.
Well, obviously, while it's a lot of fun to watch the drivers that dominate the race, it's a lot of fun to watch those fast trucks make their way through the field as well. And we got to see you do that not once, not twice, but 3 times here in your heat, that B main and that A main. Congratulations on the second place run here tonight. We're now going to give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
I just thank y'all for putting on the broadcast and TNR for putting on the race. It's something fun to do on a Monday night, and it sure was fun tonight.
That's Kenneth Drake, P2, here tonight at Bristol Dirt. Once again, congratulations, Kenneth.
Thank you, guys.
Well, let's go down to race victory lane, championship victory lane. It's all one and the same here tonight. Let's talk with the champion of the series now, Tristan Mayer. Hey, Tristan, it's Tyler and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you guys. Sorry, my mic was muted.
No, all good. Well, first off, congratulations, champ. A job well done here this season. 4 different racetracks, 4 different configurations, and you didn't have a finish outside of the top 4 in any of the main event races. But here tonight, you already came into this race knowing that you were mathematically going to win this championship. Did that take the pressure off of you and allow you to just go out there, be aggressive, and get this statement win?
Definitely for 100%. I didn't have any pressure with me. I mean, I was having a blast because of that fact. You know, I was okay going literally 5 wide on the start of races. So yeah, no pressure was definitely a good thing here.
Now, Tristan, I think you're eerie similar at the time of seeing you to Mr. Kevin Harvick because you close these events so strong and just make it look so easy. I mean, how are you doing this? It seems like each time we're at here, you start out, show some flashes, and you just keep getting better as the event goes on. Where do you find that?
Honestly, guys, I don't know. I can't. I mean, I'm decent in oval tracks, in oval cars like the Xfinity cars and stuff like that, but I'm not nearly as competitive in those as I am in these trucks. I mean, I don't know what it is. I drive trucks better than cars, I guess.
Well, we know that you were out in front for a good portion of this race, and sometimes, especially knowing that there's not going to be a caution that comes out to bunch everybody back up, it kind of plays with drivers on how they're going to approach a strategy type race. And we knew that you guys couldn't make it on fuel while you were out in front. You were one of the guys that decided to stay out the longest. What was the key factor that played into that strategy?
Well, Keith, honestly, I liked the position I was in. I didn't have I kind of had already worked my way through most of the traffic, so I was kind of I didn't want to pit and then put myself back behind some guys that I had to work around. So I tried to stay out as long as I could and hopefully not come out in a bad spot.
Well, not only did you dominate the main event here tonight, but man, you've been dominant this season. 3 wins in a row to close out the year, and you take home that championship as well. Congratulations, Tristan. We're going to turn the microphone over to you, let you do some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
TNR, this is a great league. Hopefully, the Stadium Super Trucks becomes a full-time series. Mike Tellier for the fantastic Cletus safety truck paint job. Radius Racing, it's a great team. I'm not involved a whole lot with the oval races lately, but good team. Like working together.
Well, Tristan Mayer not only gets to celebrate his 3rd win on the season, 3rd win in a row, but he closes out the season with a championship as well. Congratulations, Tristan. Go and enjoy both of those things. Job well done here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Tyler, I asked you coming into tonight, what can we expect from Bristol Dirt? And these drivers went out there and said, hey, you can expect a show.
Yeah, I think we got everything. We got the flip counter rolling, got some fantastic battles. We got that classic, dirt chase, if you will, for a good win there by Tristan. A good battle between him and Kenneth Drake throughout the event. I mean, man, what a fun few weeks here. Just this, this short season.
Absolutely. I mean, the way that they've got the format here, those guys that are fast early on have to get put to the back, and we still see them be able to cut their way through the field, get up to the front. Again, I mean, it's just a blast to be able to watch them. It plays a lot of strategy into these type of races as well, and apparently, if your truck is fast, it's going to find its way back up to the front one way or another. But again, it's, as I said for Tristan Mayer, a statement win here tonight. Obviously came in knowing that if he finished, 5th, if he finished in 10th, or if he won this race, more than likely he was going to win that championship mathematically. And he knew that he had the momentum coming into this race. He was going to go out there and he was going to take that win as a statement here to close out a championship season.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have done it better. You blame him, like you said, for only finishing 4th in that first race, but my goodness, I mean, just it's special to see, Seth, and I'm sure you see a lot. I've seen a lot throughout a lot of these series we do. When a guy locks in or a driver locks in and really kind of finds it, it's just, spectacular to watch.
Absolutely, and there's no doubt about it. Tristan Mayer did that here tonight. Maybe a little bit more dominant overall last week at Charlotte Roval. Kind of crept his way up here to the front in the A main, but as you said, when the points are on the line, that's when he rises to the top, and absolutely, he was locked in here tonight. And what a way to close out the season for Tristan Mayer. Not only is he the winner here tonight in the Blame Shelley Insurance 200, but he is your TNR Summer Stadium Truck Series champion. So big time congratulations to him. Well, it's been a blast here tonight under the lights at Bristol Dirt to close out this season here. Tyler, appreciate you joining me in the booth.
Always a pleasure, Seth. Make me sound a lot better than I am.
Thanks to everyone that tuned in here tonight as well. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage. Once again, big congratulations to Tristan Mayer as he's the champion in the TNR Summer Stadium Truck Series. Bit of a tongue twister there. And we hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. For Tyler Riggs, I'm Seth Cole. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.